Recording in progress. Hi, Brie. I'm recording for you. Welcome to Constant Struggle. I'm Nick Watson.
And I'm Brie Watson. Welcome to episode number 69 of the Constant Struggle Podcast. Isn't that fitting? Isn't that fitting for our wonderful
Sure
guests?
Is. We should have told them about that.
I know.
One.
I didn't realize until earlier today. But this is episode 69. We made it. And this episode features an interview with the hosts of the Parrothead Podcast. Nick is a huge fan. Patrick McDonald, Patrick McDonald and Ryan Middledorf of the Parrothead Podcast. Nick, you enjoyed this episode tremendously. Why don't you tell our listeners what they can expect?
I was going to say a pair of fun-loving dudes, but like Brie and I are there too. So a bunch of fun-loving people. We talk not a little bit about Mr. James Buffett.
James T. Buffett.
James Tiberius Buffett. The struggles of trying to do creative stuff during this global pandemic.
Yeah. Nick, you know what surprised me the most that you kept for me when you were when you signed these guys up to talk to us is that they were UCB trained improvisers.
Oh, I didn't know they were. God. I mean, I guess it makes sense.
Oh, it was such a delightful treat that we got to sneak in a little bit of improv talk in there too.
It turned improv so fast, Brie. It's like, I don't know. It's your superpower for this show. I can
weed out the improvisers. It sounds like they're doing a little bit of yes-anding here. I gotta look into this. Such a delightful chat, and I think you folks listening at home are going to get a lot out of it. I think you're going to laugh a bunch because I know we did.
Were there giggles? I feel like there were giggles.
There were so many giggles on, like, not just us. I think we made them giggle a little bit too.
Oh, excellent.
Just a delightful encounter all around.
Agreed. It was fun. It was everything I was hoping it would have been. Because as you said, Brie, I'm a fan of this podcast.
You're a big fan of this podcast.
Yeah. And their podcast too.
I figured you meant their podcast.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But before you get the privilege and the honor and the delight of getting to listen to that podcast, you have to find out what Nick and I have been trudging through the past couple weeks.
Oh, well, this will be quick.
Okay. What have you been working on, Nick?
Fucking nothing, buddy.
What do you mean, not even edits?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. I've been doing other things, man. Get off my case.
Like what? What other things have you been doing?
Today, day drinking for one.
Should you maybe be writing instead of... Can't you write while you day drink or edit while you day drink? Wouldn't that make the experience... Today. Yeah, I was going to say, wouldn't that make the experience more fun?
Yeah. No, well, I don't know. When's the last time we did this? Like a month ago?
Yeah, I don't think I did anything. Every month.
Where am I? What's going on?
I had to remind you that every month we're doing this. Okay, that's cool. Well, you haven't been editing.
No, it isn't. It's terrible.
What about Catherine's been editing your stuff? Is she still editing your stuff?
No, that's not happening.
No, nothing's happening. So you're at a standstill. What do you got to do? Let's talk about it. Let's listen to all of the advice we've had in the past. What do you got to do to get yourself writing again?
Carry on day drinking.
Well, maybe that'll work today. I have been... Will it help you to hear how much I've been working?
Probably.
Because I've been working a fuck ton.
Nice.
Yeah. So a lot of improv, but not only... So I've been teaching the regular stuff. So I've been teaching a class with Second City. I'm teaching 2 classes with Improv Niagara. And I recently started... Actually, this was a couple months ago, and I don't even know if we talked about it. But I recently started teaching improv for a team of architects.
That was not mentioned at any point.
So they work together. I'm not going to go into too much detail about who they are, but they work together. And so they work at a company, and every couple of weeks we get together and we do some improv games together. And we, and it helps with, oh my goodness, it helps so much with the team to get to know each other and with connection and communication skills and just being, oh man, it's so... You said it in the podcast. People are going to hear this. It's so beneficial to just be silly and goofy a little bit.
For sure.
I can't imagine. I'm to the point that I was like thinking about all the different places I've worked and how much the culture would have been better if we'd all have done a little bit of improv together.
Oh, just a little bit of silliness in your day.
Just a little bit of not being so up your own ass. You know what I mean?
Just a little silly.
A little bit. Oh, a lot of British stuff happening these days. You'll see again in the episode. We've had a couple more shows come up too. Like we had so in April, and I don't think I mentioned this either. In April, we had a 420 themed show where we all got high before. Actually, not all of us. Half of us got high before the show, and the other half didn't. And the audience had to guess who was who, and they guessed correctly.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I bet that was difficult.
But this month we had a May 2-4 long weekend show.
Oh my God! So y'all got drunk before the show?
Yeah, well, it's before and during the show, and you know what? That one was so much fun. It was like, really? I feel like improv is best when you're about 3 deep. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe that's not. If you're a student of mine, maybe you shouldn't be listening to that.
No, have a couple pops going in. That's the way to do it.
Not for rehearsal, but for shows, sometimes it's the way to go.
Just loosen it up a bit, teeny bit.
Yeah, it does, definitely. So anyway, a lot of shows, like trying to make the most of the fact that we have to do shows online. So trying to make the online shows fun and, classes, self-tapes here and there.
Okay. Yeah. Busy creative doodads.
Exactly. Busy creative doodads. I tried to start blogging again and I got one and I'm like, I got to go every Friday. And today is Saturday and didn't do the one for yesterday. I started it, but it's not ready yet. So
wow.
Yeah. But I have some time today. I thought I was going to be working on a self-tape for a French TV show. Well, that's another thing. A French TV show that I did book a while ago is going to be airing soon, which is exciting, and I'll be able to share more info about that, I guess, as of June 4th. So that'll be fun. They already started doing some of their social media rollout. So anyway, that's exciting. A lot of little things here and there. Little things. You know what I mean?
Little things.
Little things. Oh, God. You know what? You know what I spent a huge chunk of May doing?
Watching gangster stuff on Hulu.
My taxes.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
That's kind of gangster.
It's pretty gangster. It takes so long when you're like an artist to get all your receipts and shit together. Anyway, that being said, I'm looking at getting some, accounting software so I don't have to do this anymore. But I think that's one thing during the pandemic that actually I've really improved upon because I've actually had time to sort of sit down and track my finances way better than before. So anyway.
Well, that's like a life lesson. Great job, Brie.
Right? Yeah, I think so. It also helps that I'm not spending, $50 on gas every day. So anyway, that was a lot. I feel like real. I just said, that is a real struggle. How's the day job?
It's just a living nightmare.
Oh, no. But at least you have all your podcasts. Are you listening to any new podcasts keeping you...
I feel like maybe a couple new golf ones have snuck in there.
Hey, why not? What's a golf podcast like? Do they just talk about watching golf or do they talk about like golf techniques? How does that work?
Yeah, it's about, kind of watching golf. It's going over the previous weekend's tournament. Golf's inherently funny. Like there's just goofiness abound in that sport. So you just bring up on that.
I saw somebody, there was a blooper. A blooper of somebody wearing white pants, a male golfer, slipped and got a stain on his bum. That was hilarious. Let me tell you.
Oh my God. Was that a couple weeks ago, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that sounded like Billy Horschel.
And he wasn't wearing shoes, so maybe he was trying to get his ball out of a...
Yeah, out of the drink.
Is that what they call it? Nick, you're going to have to tell me all this terminology when we go golfing.
We're going golfing. Yay.
Yes, we'll be able to report back on that. Maybe we could do a mini post-golf episode.
I think I figured out what's going on, Brie. I'm slowly turning our podcast into every podcast I listen to with the Buffett boys, and we're going golfing.
Well, I've already made it everything about improv, so it's already most of the podcasts I listen to as well.
There you go.
So there we go. And now all I have to do is talk about personal finance, and those are the podcasts I've been listening to.
And you did that.
You talked
about your taxes.
Yes. Maybe we could get a sponsorship from like FreshBooks or something.
TurboTax.
Listen, if we could get some like financial software plus some golf, equipment.
Software.
Also
software.
Some improv software and some Jimmy Buffett software to sponsor this podcast. We'd be doing pretty good.
My God, I would like all of those things.
Right? And golf software. I bet it exists. So you could check, track your stats and that kind of stuff. I'm sure it exists.
Yeah, but Brie, Jimmy software would be amazing.
It would never work. There'd be so many bugs.
It would randomly just throw a flip-flop at you from nowhere.
Ow, how did this?
It just did. It's like, Jimmy?
Where did you come from? I'm in your computer. I don't know if I'm doing a good Jimmy or not.
You know what?
What?
You did.
Oh, thank you.
It was fine. It was a good Jimmy.
Well,
it was a good Jimmy.
Well, I mean, speaking of Jimmy, I think it's time we invite our listeners into the gates of our episode this
of our
week.
Own Margaritaville.
Of our own. Oh my goodness. Oh, and oh man. On behalf of...
we didn't even get to tell him about our trip to Margaritaville for New Year's.
No, we'll have to do a follow-up with them.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That would be fun. So on behalf of the Liverpools, which, that'll make sense to you in a little bit, enjoy episode 69 with Patrick McDonald and Ryan Middledorf. Here we go.
Whoa! All right.
Wow, I've never heard her say that before.
I didn't know that's a thing.
Hang on, I'm gonna hit the continue to get that out of my face.
She's British.
There we go.
Oh,
hello.
Recording.
Yeah.
It's like a Harry Potter extra.
Yeah.
Nick's wife is British, so we're very sensitive about that.
Oh, really?
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's all good. I've been able to cope with it. So
He just picked this out of the Zoom immediately.
It's good. It's good.
And you are gone now.
was someone insulting the Queen?
Was that just her saying that? Yeah, we're recording.
You insulting the Queen? I hope my London story is I met a girl at a club in London when I was studying abroad, and she came up to me. Have I told you this? Right?
Yeah.
And she came up to me and she was like, "I'm looking for my sister." This is exactly how she sounded. "Looking for my sister," and I was like, "Oh, I'll help you find your sister." And she's like, "I'm Izzy from London," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm Patrick. I'm from Texas." She goes, "Texas? We have a cousin in Seattle."
That is a journey.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. And so then we found a sister, and then she was like, "He's from Texas," and the sister was like, "Texas, we have a cousin in Seattle." This is not.
I looked at a map. Although we get that, I feel like Canadians get that a lot.
Sure.
Like a lot of like, "Oh, do you know this person from Canada?" And it's not really specific. We don't.
I now get the anxiety that I will know the person as well.
Yeah, that's the weird.
Oh God, no, I do know that guy.
Shit. That's the weird part about it. Do you know Jean-Guy from Canada?
Yeah, I do.
We go way
played
back.
on my hockey team.
Oh shit! Oh no! Yeah.
Welcome to the Constant Struggle. I'm Nick Watson.
I'm Brie Watson. Nick,
Brie,
take it over.
I'm gonna steer the ship this time. This is weird. I feel uncomfortable doing it, but we've got two great passengers to come along with us. Today we have Ryan Middledorf and Patrick McDonald.
Hello. Thank you so much for having us, guys.
And they're from where, Nick?
And they're from a podular cast as well. The Parrothead Podcast is joining us.
That's
Fins
right.
up, everybody.
Fins up, folks.
We're gonna go probably pretty Jimmy heavy today. Brie,
Yeah,
maybe put in the show notes.
I figured.
So people know.
We're excited. We're ready to go Jimmy heavy. We always are.
Yes.
Look, that's where we live. So we're pumped. We already showed you our fin hats.
That's true. We took a photo. I'll be interested in seeing like how anybody who's so heavily invested in Jimmy could struggle at all. Right? Where are the struggles?
Surprised.
Turns out struggle is one of the cornerstones of being a Parrothead.
I'm excited. Dig deep.
And,
yeah.
And we've caught the boys on a very interesting time in their podcasting career, because they've been told that they're going to be going on Margaritaville Radio.
Ooh,
I'm going to get a show.
Right. We've been told.
You guys now have to do that. Obviously, you've potted enough about Jimmy. Now this is payback time.
This is on Sirius, right? On Sirius XM?
Sirius
XM.
We were served a subpoena. We were told you have to do this. We'll see you on the radio. A man in a hat with a big cake. It was like, we found out in December. That, we got an email from Kirsten Winquest, who's the program director at Radio Margaritaville. She said she'd been listening to us during quarantine. We were keeping her sane.
Yep.
Aww.
Which is insane because we felt like we were going crazy.
Happy to provide that.
Each other out. You don't even know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like you're keeping me insane by comparison. Like I'm not that. You know what I mean?
At least I'm not those guys.
Right. And so we started talking to them, and then we basically like eased our way into this gig. And so we're slowly getting our equipment, and we're supposed to be on the air soon, but we got our microphones.
Yes, so they can't back down now.
They can't back down.
These are the serious mics you're using right now?
No.
Okay.
They sent us these little guys. They're plastic.
Yeah. They charge us $500.
Yes. You remember those old microphones, those old toy microphones that used to scream into and make like an echo sound?
Oh, yes.
That's what they sent us. I hope they work.
You're
a can on a string.
Going to look for the mic. We're gonna see the mic.
This was the real deal, Mike.
Whoa.
We were selling like a suitcase.
Listen, I didn't tell you this. My case is much bigger.
Really?
It's a rolly case.
What?
It has wheels.
Ryan got a better case. It's really weird.
It has wheels.
Oh,
where are you going with it?
It looks like a medium-sized hard plastic suitcase.
Cool.
I don't know where to store it.
Oh man.
Muff it under the bed.
Oh, that's
they have
insane.
different things inside?
Yeah. I guess so.
I guess.
Yeah.
But now he's being coy. He clearly got the deluxe package.
My mic is worse, but the case is way better.
Yeah. My mic is a megaphone. Yeah. We're super excited. It's such a crazy thing that we just started this to fuck around 5 years ago.
Yeah.
2016. We were just having a lot of fun talking about stuff, and then people started listening to us, and we kept doing our thing, and it's crazy.
Like we were talking, we never had any set goals in mind for the show. We were just kind of going for it, just kind of winging it. And, we've had a few, I wouldn't say bumps along the way, but there have certainly been times where we've taken weeks off at a time. And, one of us will text each other and say, hey, you want to keep going? And we'll say, sure.
I guess we should.
I guess so. Why not? It's been a great, like for me, this is one of the highlights of my week where I can just sit down, talk about music I like. Patrick and I luckily get along very well.
Yes.
So, it was a fun side hobby that is now turned into, a little bit of a job, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm digging this, Brie, because we've talked to other podcast hosts, but it's part of the struggle of podcasting is actually sitting down and doing the thing.
Sure.
And trying to keep it relatively regular.
Yeah,
that felt weird saying, but there you go.
How did you two meet? I'm going way back here. Did you two know each other before you?
Yeah, a bit. So Patrick and I are both part of the LA comedy community. We both came up through taking classes at UCB, and the community out here is very, it's dense, and there's a lot of indie shows, a lot of smaller theaters. So Patrick and I sort of tangentially kind of knew each other through that scene. And, I think I might have interviewed you on one of my old podcasts or something like that.
Cheers, Stomps and Whistles, right?
Cheers, Stomps and Whistles. And we kind of just started to get to know each other through that. And I knew through like Facebook and Twitter, I had seen you posting stuff about Jimmy Buffett, and I had never seen anybody else post anything about Jimmy Buffett who was my age.
Yeah.
And that was another question I was going to ask. Anyway, good.
UCB, I had an annual show. It was 2 annual. I did 2 of them. but it was Dad's Parrothead Summer Kickoff. It was a bit show. So Brie, I know you're like in the comedy world as well, right?
Yeah, I teach at Second City, so I'm one of the people at Second City who actually isn't threatened by other communities, but rather embraces the whole.
Well, we love Second City too. I have a lot of friends that did Second City and came over from Toronto.
Yeah.
Do you know Anessa Frantowski?
Yeah.
Yes, I love Anessa. Lisa Gilroy, I also love.
Lisa, I used to do short form games with Lisa before she was there. Yeah.
I'll have to tell them that I talked to you. That's so amazing.
Please do.
Yeah, they're the best. But yeah, so we did it.
Tell me they were improvisers. I'm so excited.
Yes, now you're in.
I think keep that on the down low, Brie. I didn't want to get you too hyped up.
Like I want them to talk about Buffett only, not improv.
I'm so sick of all the improv chat you get to have on this show. So I brought some improvisers with me.
Oh my God. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I used to do a bit show where I would play a character named Dad, and I'd say everyone calls me Dad. Even my dad called me Dad. And then I used to walk around in a Hawaiian shirt, and I used to have someone making margaritas live on stage.
Oh my God.
I'd serve people margaritas, and then people would come up and they wrote bits and jokes about Jimmy Buffett. So I had a bit that I would do every year. And we, had all sorts of weird stuff. And I tried to get real Parrotheads to come to the show. Amazing. So it was so much fun. And then I think Ryan saw some of that. And then we met up and he was like, you like Jimmy Buffett. I like Jimmy Buffett. We had a lot of really good times on your podcast.
Yeah.
And so then
we decided to start a show.
Yeah, started from there. October 2016 was our first episode.
Yes, I think October or November. Yeah, I think we started recording in September. So yeah, right around there.
So I like to say we've been talking about Jimmy Buffett for 3 presidents.
Wow.
I need to know, how did you two, okay, hang on. It's a 2-part question. Not really. It's a 1-part question with a follow-up. How did you two find Jimmy Buffett? Because Nick turned 40 and that's when it happened.
Yeah, the gene kicked in.
Really? It just kind of happened. Yes. Osmosis.
You just woke up one day, you're like, Jimmy Buffett.
I'm not even sure. Like, I've always grown up, like, I love the Hawaiian shirt culture, being a big fat party animal, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm big into golf. And then I think I saw the commercial for the beach bum. And it had like pirate looks at 40 or whatever. Yeah. And that was like, this song is beautiful. What is this? And then it was like Jimmy Buffett. I'm like, oh, I know him from jokes on Conan.
There you go. Yes.
I did more research. I was like, this is actually pretty cool. I like this.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then I was hooked, just like heroin. It was the same route that I took.
I love to hear that journey for you.
Yes.
That's incredible. And I love the Hawaiian shirt you're wearing, by the way.
It's very nice.
Homage. Thanks, guys. Yeah. No idea where I got it from. Probably a thrift store.
That's the best type of Hawaiian shirt where you're like, how'd this get here?
And actually, the tag for it is Hawaiian shirt, I believe. So it's like, it says what it is on the box. I love it.
It's a Halloween costume, probably.
Came in like a clear plastic bag.
Yeah, coconut bra. Exactly, like normal people wear. I don't know what
so for I think both of us, it really started with our dads. I always say that I think I was 7 years old before I knew that anybody made music who wasn't Jimmy Buffett, because it was playing in the house constantly. And I can't stress that enough, where that's all that was playing. Wow. My dad had all the albums. We had the sound system through the house, and every single weekend it was just on repeat. So that's all I heard. And my first concert was a Jimmy Buffett show. We did the whole tailgate experience. Like, I was a kid, probably way too young to be there. And I was just so into it. It was so much fun. And then, as I started, finding my own path with like music discovery and stuff like that, I sort of fell out of it for a while. But then really after high school, kind of came back into it in a really big way. We talk a lot on the show about going back to things from your childhood, music, whatever it is, because it just feels comfortable. It feels nice. And for me, that's been Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a very similar thing. We had the Songs You Know by Heart album in our house, and they used to play it all the time. My dad loved it. Dad's obsessed with it. We actually just recorded an episode with our dads for Father's Day. Yes. We talked a lot about this, but on that episode, we also talk about my dad has a kind of a claim to fame that he wrote on a pen. He owned a bar in the 70s, and he wrote on a pen, "The weather is here, wish you were beautiful." But it was all one word, and you had to like decipher it to see what it was. But he wrote it before Jimmy Buffett wrote a song called "The Weather is Here, Wish You Were Beautiful." So he thinks that he influenced it because he had a bar in Colorado and Jimmy spent a lot of time in Aspen. So that's his big kind of claim to fame in general. Every dad has some sort of claim to fame that he inspired. He also was a manager for Olive Garden, and he told me the other day that he's the guy that stood up in a meeting and said, "We need to make Olive Garden fun again."
You guys, breadsticks. Hear me out.
Everyone turned and looked at him. I like imagining that. His biopic is going to be incredible. We need to make Olive Garden fun again.
He's slamming his hand on the table.
They will play it at all of the Olive Gardens on the little screens they keep.
Exactly. You can watch it. The Olive Garden story.
Like, who is this hero?
The man behind the revitalized kids menu. But yeah. So I actually, I kind of like liked it as oldies music. Mm-hmm. And then when I graduated college, I moved out here, and I had a couple friends that I lived with that were obsessed with Jimmy Buffett as well. And my buddy Dave Napoli, who's from New York, wanted to make a cover band called the Jamaica Mistakas. And I fell in with all these people that just were obsessed. And we went, when I was like 22 or 23, we went to the Vegas concert, and I had like one of the times of my life. Oh my God. First was drawn in because it's so funny. Like, he is one of the only musicians who is funny. Like, he's trying to make jokes.
Yeah. I hated funny music before getting into this. I'm like, wait, you can, it doesn't have to be just 90s sadness all the time. You can have a good time listening to music.
Right. It's kind of lighthearted. Like, it's very weird. Like, I think you need a little bit of time to like allow him to be sincerely funny and kind of lighthearted. But once you kind of embrace that, you're like, oh, this is a blast. Like, you start making fun of it because you're like, what is this song, Vampires, Mummies, and the Holy Ghost? These are the things that terrify me the most. Like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, I can laugh at him. I'm not laughing at him ironically. I'm laughing at him sincerely. And I feel like we're all fighting what's ironic and what's sincere, especially in the comedy community, Brie. I'm sure you're like that too.
Yep.
Where someone's like, you have to listen to this. I fucking hate it. And you're like,
oh my God, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That sounds fun. Great.
So it's very exciting that I'm like, oh yeah, I can wholeheartedly, sincerely love this thing. It can also be funny, and I can also laugh at it. So it's interesting.
I love the goofball aspect of it. And I've come to the realization, because I'm older, I'm the eldest here, so I can say this with great authority, that being a goofball is probably the best way to live your life.
Sure.
Because you're talking to three improvisers. We've never.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, I know you guys don't know too much about goofiness, but it's pretty great. You should try it.
Well, like we always say that Jimmy Buffett music is children's music for adults.
Yeah.
You know, it's very bouncy, it's very fun, it's very catchy, and it
technically good as well. Like it is like well-made music.
Yes, it just puts you in a good mood. It's pure escapism, which is something that we love. It's the most, I would say Jimmy Buffett is one of the most unique artists where he completely understands who he is and the community that he is serving.
He's like an alcoholic Raffi.
Nailed it.
And there's a man who understands branding, you know what I mean?
And I'm trying to tell him, let us put that on everything.
Yeah.
Just to take it down. Imagine Raffi hearing that going like, Raffi's plenty alcoholic, guys.
Oh, Raffi, it's okay.
No problem there.
Dark Raffi.
I've heard Baby Beluga. Now listen to Middle Age Beluga.
It's nowhere near as cute.
But he still thinks he is. It's the day he realizes he's not cute anymore. Very sad.
Beluga needs Voltaren or something. Does that read in the US? Voltaren? I don't know.
I'm sure there's a US drug that's an equivalent.
Yeah. There's somebody that's like, that was for me.
There's a different Canadian living in Tucson somewhere that's like, that's what I take.
I love it. Nick, you look so polite and patient. What do you want to say? What do you want to add?
I'm enjoying the ride. But Ryan, can you talk to us a little bit about running podcast studio, a podcast website,
podcast network and production company. It's when I moved out to LA in 2012, I guess, I started getting involved in the comedy community, and I guess I should backtrack a little bit. When I was younger, when I was in high school, I was producing a podcast with my cousin and one of his friends. It was just like a music podcast. Podcasting was just starting to come up, and we were just kind of doing it for fun. We were playing actual songs on the podcast. So Apple at the time said, no. This can't be a podcast on Apple. So it was just living just in the internet somewhere.
Wow.
It wasn't on any podcatchers or anything like that. But that was my first sort of kind of step into podcasting. And when I moved out to LA, he said, hey, if you ever want to do anything like this in the future, let me know. So I moved out here, got involved in comedy, started meeting all of these great improvisers, and thought to myself, like, hey, I could talk to some of these people. Like, it'd be a great way for me to meet people, a great way for me to learn about comedy. And that's what I did. So I started my own podcast. And from there, all the people I was talking to, realized that they wanted to have shows of their own. So really through necessity, we kind of started a network. This is now, I guess, about 8 years ago. And it's really grown into something much larger than I thought it was going to be. We over the course of the past 8 years, we probably produced over 100 shows.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, probably 200 different types of talent, hosts and guests and things like that. And it's now become, my full-time job is podcasting, really. So, I kind of just sort of fell into it, and running a network, it's been really great. It's been a huge learning process. I've never owned a business before. I learned that there is way more paperwork than I would want. I thought when I started it, oh great, I'm gonna get to do this creative thing. It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be amazing. It's mainly just paperwork. That's mainly all it is, and figuring out, what tax forms to submit and things like that. So the creative side of things, I'm lucky enough to work with other people that can sort of help me handle a lot of the business stuff now. But it's been a big learning process, but it's been really rewarding. I've made so many great friends and connections through this. It's really something that I just kind of fell into.
Yeah. He's so good at it. He's like,
thank you.
He's truly, I send people his way all the time, whether or not he's happy with it.
You do. And I appreciate it. I do.
I'm really like, go to Ryan. Ryan's the best. Ryan's because he gives people a platform that they can try things out, and there isn't a ton of overhead in the sense of maybe on some other podcasts you're a little hey, stop that. But I haven't heard anyone who really let people figure out their voice, which is so cool.
You're right. And it was really something that was born out of the indie comedy community, where it is really a high tides raise all ships type situation. If you're doing well, then we're doing well. Our goal is to help people make podcasts as easy and fun as possible. We don't
great.
Yeah,
it sounds so encouraging and lift each other up, which is so that's so, and it sounds also isn't that the best way to know that you're on sort of the right course? If things just, if you're just trying something and then immediately all these people sort of start, either encouraging you or start, lifting you up, and that becomes, and then you, what am I saying? I'm saying it sounds like this is the path you were meant. You're I kind of fell into it, but it's but it sounds like it was for a reason. That was a roundabout way to get there.
But it's true.
It really did just all kind of, work out. And I've always wanted to have a job where I get to just work with my friends. And that's what I get to do, which is awesome.
I love that.
Yeah. And I get to listen to you guys at my work, which works out totally for me.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, good.
That's great. We're on your work day with you?
As much as I can get you guys in there. Yeah.
Wow.
So when COVID kicked off, I think I had been listening to you guys a little bit before, and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna need to pace this out because I cannot burn my happiness out in one go. So I would do like your current episode, and then I'd do a couple in the back catalog, and I was gonna meet in the middle at some point.
Wow.
Yeah, but like you guys have created a super fun kind of place to just relax into. And Brie, like Ryan and Patrick's pod is just like them hanging out, talking about what they're up to, and then they get into like different topics that they've come up for. Like we're gonna look at Jimmy's earlier records, or Jimmy's work in the 2000s, or songs your mom would listen to while she's doing grocery shopping.
Yes. We're getting specific with our playlist.
Yeah. It gets granular, and I love it.
Yeah,
I think we're almost at like 180 episodes.
Wow.
We have some crazy number,
like 187. I think
187.
187. Yeah.
Holy moly!
And
so yeah,
that's a good point, I guess, from a podcaster's perspective. How do you sort of decide what it is that you're going to talk about? I think for us it's easy. We have interviewees, and so for us it's like we're going to ask them questions. But if it's just the two of you, how do you decide? Like what Jimmy topic are we going to explore?
A great question. It's almost always the morning of
or the night before.
Or the night before.
We text each other like, what do you want to do? Because we need at least an hour to listen to an album if we're going to listen to an album or something like that. But a little version of what I have seen in my mind, and I think we've talked about this a little bit, we kind of like a little bit stole from like, well, this is what some podcasts do, but Jimmy Buffett is this all-encompassing thing, so we can do that. I was a huge fan of My Dad Wrote a Porno, so I was like, let's do Buffett Book Club, where we read a chapter of his book every few months, and we read like a chapter of his short stories. Yeah. And then we talk about those. Or like, we're big fans of Are You Talking You Two to Me?
Yes.
Which was the Scott Aukerman podcast. We talk about U2. That was kind of the genesis of this, because we wanted to do a funny podcast. There's a lot of other Jimmy Buffett podcasts that have come out in the past couple of years, and a lot of them are really fantastic, and we love them. Yep. We like to stress that we are a comedy Jimmy Buffett podcast. There's these really incredible, deep thinking, brilliant song analysis
about all the people that Jimmy's killed over the years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a lot of true crime Jimmy Buffett podcasts.
Of true crime. A poor man strangled by a leg in the tiki bar.
Such a sad, happy way to go, but there it is.
If you're gonna go somehow, I mean.
Delaney talks to ghosts. Deep cut reference. But yeah, it's we just like to really have fun with it, and I think that's the big thing about it, is that we want to make sure that we are enjoying the music and we're having a good time listening to music when we do listen to music. We just like to, we have all sorts of stuff. Sometimes we did dream concert set lists where we're like, what's our dream version? We like kind of go super fan with it. And then we get very investigative too, where we're like, what's exactly the root of this specific moment or this thing? Or we have an episode coming out about the Dave Matthews Band. And we're talking about like D&B versus Buffett. And we're just like kind of, Ryan is also wears the Dave Matthews Band hat.
Yes.
The wine soaked hat.
That's right.
So he's, he can speak to that. And I think we're also both kind of pontificators and deep thinkers. So I think it's like fun for us to just play these little mental scenarios out.
Yeah. And, it really started as a specific Jimmy Buffett podcast, still being very comedy focused, but it has really turned into a podcast about the love for music. We start each show off with talking about a song that we're listening to, and it really ranges. Like I think that's what's been the most fun, is learning more about music through this podcast. It's not just Jimmy Buffett. We learn about, we talk about like Kenny Chesney sometimes, which we both knew nothing about. And, it's been really, really exciting in that aspect as well. So we're not, married to each episode. We need to talk about a Jimmy album, and that's all we're going to talk about. We really give ourselves the leeway to sort of expand the scope a bit, which has been a lot of fun.
My Spotify account thanks you guys for your service in that regard, because it was getting super Jimmy heavy. And you guys seem to know like a bunch of like indie bands in California, and you'll give them shout outs every once in a while. I think I think I learned about Phoebe Bridgers from you guys. So
wow.
Thank you for that.
Nice. Yes. Hey, of course. We're happy. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a big thing for us too, personally. I mean, we've spoken about this. We do Buffett Battle of the Bands where we compare two artists, and we had a friend come on, my really good buddy, Peter Manifest. He came on and we did Jimmy Buffett versus Tupac, where we compared songs. And
could you tell the difference? Like
no, and it was really hard. Yes. Yeah. It was really, really hard. Jimmy Buffett's version of Picture Me Rollin' is just fantastic. But he would do it.
He would.
On a surfboard paddling while doing
Picture me surfing. But we like to, our idea is that if we have these, dads that are in their 60s or 70s that are listening to us and all they've listened to their whole life is Jimmy Buffett, perhaps because you're here, we can introduce you to something else. We can maybe verify, and vary your tastes. And, we had a dad email us about getting recommendations for a song for his daddy-daughter dance because he wanted, and he was really into it. We introduced him to this band, the Rad Trads. So we were like really honored because the Rad Trads is this like cool indie, kind of like folk pop bunk, like cool, very like swingy band in Brooklyn that isn't even on the label. And now this dad in Florida is obsessed with them. And I love that. I want to get to old men.
Well, she was probably like, Dad, just anything but Jimmy Buffett. Please.
Please, Dad.
Like, I know just the guys to ask. And you sent him a bunch of recommendations. He burned us pretty hard.
Burned us hard. He said, I would dance to these if I was marrying my daughter.
Okay.
I was like,
yes,
okay.
Sir.
All right, bro.
Note taken.
Note taken. Yes. But he did send another email. We need to talk about that. Yes. He sent a nice responce being like, we had a great wedding. It was a nice wedding. The song.
Good. Okay, I'm glad.
He did burn us again, though. He's sassy. Doug Pajak. He's a sassy guy.
He's a sassy boy.
I respect him.
Sassy boy.
I respect him.
I expect your audience lean sassy. Actually,
They do. We like to say that they call us on our shit a lot. And we respect it.
Yeah.
We really do. Like if we get something wrong, they will say no. Yeah.
A quick Google search would have solved that problem for you. That's a lot.
Yes.
You should have searched.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much. Awesome. But we like to say that.
Is it just the people from the serious Jimmy Buffett podcasts who are coming in or like, do you get
BuffettWorld.com gets up on
BuffettWorld.com. Oh my gosh.
Once that Flash plugin really kicks in, you're in for a world of hurt. We haven't. I can't tell the amount of serious fans we've gotten yet. We did just have an interview with this trop rock artist, Tropical Rock. It's a Jimmy Buffett.
Trop rock, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with yacht rock. I didn't know trop rock.
Trop rock is a whole genre, and it's very cool. We had an interview with these two musicians, Tall Paul and his wife Christy, and that was so much fun.
It's very fun.
And I feel like we got a couple new people from that.
Yes.
But that's it. It's a really interesting world to dive into because we never claim to be factually correct. We just claim to be passionate. Like we're not right. We're passionate. That's
exactly.
Always what we say.
That's
a great way to live in general.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So
that was a big personal thing for me. Is like I'd rather be happy than right.
Exactly.
Because I felt like I was fighting a lot of people all the time for some reason to show that I knew things. And
on the internet, get out.
Can you believe it? Can you believe on the internet I was trying to show people that I knew more than them? Is that the place for that? But yeah, it was just, once I stopped fighting that, I was like, oh, I'm so much happier.
Yes. Nick, you can learn from this. Nick gets so mad at Twitter.
Oh, it's getting so bad. It's ridiculous. I'm just like, I'm in a good mood. Let's fix that.
Nick, I will say 2 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, it was my New Year's resolution. No more social media. I got off it completely, and I haven't been happier.
Ooh, still, eh?
Still.
Oh, sorry, that was the most Canadian.
Take off.
Even what about the pod? Does the podcast not have, or do you hire people to?
I run the
Patrick
Twitter.
does.
Oh,
yep.
good.
And I'm happy that Ryan's not on it because it's incredibly inconsistent. I have gotten the comment, this is the only podcast that advertises the episode of the week after I've listened to it. be like, hey, it's Thursday. We released an episode on Tuesday. Did you see it?
Like, yes.
I saw it already.
You could go total NBC, it's new to me kind of thing. Or
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that's fitting with the genre, though. I feel.
Oh yes, absolutely. We're on island time.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was too busy drinking
somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I dropped socials a couple years ago, and it's been great.
I'm so jealous. He's so good at it. I mean, I can't believe it. I have tried to get off for a little bit, and then I end up back on.
Well, do you guys still do? I mean, okay, so now this is your main gig. Are you still doing? Are you still performing comedy outside of here? Okay, and I saw this first.
Yeah, well, this is definitely something we're passionate about, but it's not necessarily like our main gig still. It's still something that we're kind of doing on the side for fun.
Yeah,
we're hoping it now that we have the Margaritaville thing rolling. We're hoping that will continue,
move in the right direction.
Yeah.
Are you guys allowed to plug the pod on the radio show? Do you think
we are?
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Right.
They haven't told us that we can't.
Yeah.
All right. So it's just going to be an infomercial for the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Well, hang on, hold on, slow down. So, so your podcast, it's not like they're taking your podcast and putting it on the radio. They gave you a new show on the radio, is how that works.
Yep.
Okay, I see how it works now. It's all clear in my mind.
Yes. Yeah, we're keeping the podcast separate. The radio show is going to be much more constrained, I would say.
Yeah.
At least initially, we're going to be on, I believe, on Friday nights for a couple of hours, and it's going to be your, what you typically hear on Sirius, where it's a block of music and then maybe a minute to two of talking, then another block of music. So we're hoping to expand on that at some point, but right now that's kind of what we're starting off doing.
And we're excited because I think we're also being given the leeway to maybe kind of theme our nights.
Yeah.
So we get to kind of pick, like, we're coming up with ideas for like what block of music we want to have. Like, are they focused on something, or is it a specific genre or something like that? So that's still in the works. So don't hold us to that. But don't hold us to anything.
I've written it down. I'm gonna.
It's canon now.
Angry emails.
I'm getting a call from Jimmy. Oh no. But yeah, so other than that, we do so many different random LA things. I think I definitely am the epitome of like the weird LA gig a week kind of guy, where I've done so many random things in the past.
Let's get into the struggle of that, Patrick. Let's
struggle.
What is that like? What is a week like? Recording Jimmy podcasts and trying to perform the comedy in front of people.
My question is, like, how do you do comedy without having social media to tell people when you're doing comedy?
Well, that's Ryan. Yeah.
I used to be on an improv team, and I would let them handle all of the outreach.
Okay.
He's that guy on the team.
Yes,
I'm the one who ends up having to promote the show, so I could totally understand that guy.
I would book the shows. I would book a lot of shows. Someone else would promote them.
Oh, perfect. That's a give and take. I like that.
And I would host and provide snacks for practice.
Very good. Very good. My experience, doing comedy and stuff, the quarantine is a completely different experience, right? But I really fell into like online videos, and I had a little like series that I was doing on Instagram and different sorts of things, and that was where I was putting a lot of my stuff.
How's Karanda doing these days?
Karanda, yes, that's who she is. You know Karanda. Karanda's a mannequin that I basically.
She's upstairs.
She is upstairs. She's in my loft. I wish I should just put her looking over, but people don't love them. She's in her prom dress too. She's like literally a mannequin in a prom dress.
Dude, that would be haunting, and you should for sure do that.
Perfect. I'm just gonna have her face sitting out. Yeah,
never mention her either. Just have her looming in the background.
Yeah. What's that? What's what? So I had a mannequin that was in my room that I was gonna use it in a show at UCB. I was gonna throw it up, and like it was like a parody of the show Cheer, because that was what was popular at the time, and I was just gonna be like a cheerleader who just destroyed this mannequin. That's always what it was when they were like, well, she's not being a team player, against the wall. because that's what that show was. And then the quarantine hit and I couldn't do that show. And then I just had a full mannequin in my room for the foreseeable future.
And social isolation.
And social isolation. So every day I like put like 8 hours of work into these videos where I would do a full television show, basically. Like me and Karani would get on different adventures in my apartment. And I did 30 of them.
Wow.
And then I was like, I have to stop. Cross country. I drove her to Colorado. We did a big road trip because I quarantined for 2 straight weeks with Karanda and then went to go see my parents for a few months.
Did she go
right
skiing?
At the beginning.
I just assumed Colorado ski.
We couldn't go skiing, but I did take her hiking and I took her up a hill. I put her on I taped her to a sled and I drug her up a hill. And it was crazy.
What's up? Is that the same time where you were trying to see a sunset or something, but you got
that was I think our last episode. We tried to see the sunrise, and I woke up really early and I took her to McDonald's and we got breakfast, and then we drove around to try to find the sunrise, and then I did take her up to a mountain. I took her up to Laurel Canyon, and we were facing the wrong direction. That was the twist. That was indeed the twist. But it's so interesting out here. I always just kind of do what was most fun to me, like kind of like following whatever was interesting. And I've had random jobs that have led to other jobs. I did post about this, so I think it's okay to talk about, but I recently did like green screen work for Army of the Dead, which just came out.
Okay.
The Zack Snyder film on Netflix.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's a zombie film.
Well, great. Now I have to watch it, Patrick. Thanks.
Well, you won't see me in it. I'll tell you what. So I worked for Tig Notaro. I was her for a while. She's really fantastic. I loved working for her. But while I was working for her, she was replacing Chris D'Elia in this movie. They were green screening her into the film.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened to Chris? Why can't he do it?
I know. Who knew? But he had already shot it, so they were replacing her. So I had to play like the green screen person next to her in every single scene. And so I played like Dave Bautista. There was a day that I did more than that. I like wore like this weird tan shirt and I pretended to beat up a Dave Bautista lookalike in the back of a helicopter. I was like throwing him back and forth.
That's a good day. That's a good day.
It was a great day. It was a blast. But it's always, I felt very lucky that I've been drawn into the most random weird jobs, but I'm the kind of person that I want to be known for being up for anything. And I have been. It's really cool. Yeah. I get the random things that you don't always hear about. I did some other stuff as well that I can't technically talk about, but it's been very, very fun. I did one of my first jobs out here for $100. I sat under a pile of pizza boxes wearing a Halloween mask to scare different staff members of the Queen Latifah show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really is a hell of a place.
Is that a union gig? Or?
It was, unfortunately, it was non-union. Yeah. I think I'm eligible now. Pizza box prank union. Yeah.
LA is a weird place, guys.
And they didn't use the footage, by the way. I didn't scare them good enough.
You still got those $100.
And I got some pizza.
That's right.
Yeah. While you're under the boxes, you can feel free to eat a couple.
Just reach your hand up and just grab a slice.
There's a hole in the bottom box.
Yeah, exactly. But
this is my method, guys. Just let me work.
Yeah, please. It's in my rider. I got a rider for this gig. Cash gig. But yeah, it's definitely, I mean, you guys know the same thing, like juggling your passion with what you need to do and what you want to do. Yep. It's really exciting when it intersects, and a lot of the time it doesn't. So it's like
very far off. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. But I always just like to, I feel like I'm in a position where I don't know what next week is going to bring in a positive way, where I'm like, who knows what's happen.
What a great attitude to have about it, though, for a lot of people.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah. I mean, if you're out here, might as well be that way, because I've definitely gone through the negative side of that too.
Yeah.
I think out of everybody I know, Patrick was the most ready to be thrown into a quarantine.
Well, I got this mannequin.
I feel like as soon as everything shut down, Patrick's like, okay, great, let's do it.
Yes. I did.
Was that one of your high school superlatives as well, Patrick? Like,
yeah, most ready to be thrown into a quarantine. Yeah. It's crazy. I can't believe I beat out those other people for it. But
because you are very go with the flow, very up for anything. Like, you know, with the whole Karanda thing, you're like, I guess I'll just make the most out of this.
Yeah.
And you do it, which is really great, which is cool.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, I work with what I got for sure. And I think the quarantine was a weird moment for me where I was like, something clicked where I was like, I gotta focus on myself. Like everybody had a second to focus on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was like, this also fully made me realize that like, go to your room and sit and think about what you've done is like the greatest form of punishment of all time. Like parents know what they're doing, because that was a nightmare. I haven't thought about what I did for 15 months. That's crazy.
That's true. We're still in lockdown here, and I feel like now it's gotten to we've had time to think about what we've done, and now it's like we've done that, and now we're regressing. I feel right, because I'm back in the like region where I grew up, and it's just like, oh, this familiar feeling and this familiar location, these memories, and all of this is coming up. So anyway,
so you're moving back to Toronto?
Yeah, I gotta quickly go back to Toronto.
I gotta go. Man, that is so crazy. Yeah, what's going on?
I'll pack up my barrel and go.
Yeah, there you go. Get on the barrel. Can you go up the waterfall?
Yeah.
And then
the water goes back.
Brings you back over to Toronto. We all know this, yeah.
Well, how about you, Ryan? How did you handle it all? We're saying Patrick is up for everything. How about you?
Yeah, you know, my girlfriend and I, we got pretty lucky. We had moved shortly before quarantine. You know, we were living in a 2-bedroom apartment in a pretty populated, busy area of town, and moved to the suburbs, got a small little tiny house with a yard. And, you know, we've got 2 dogs. So we moved in November of 2019. So, you know, a handful of months. Yeah. So a handful of months before everything shut down. And, you know, it kind of came at a good time, because we were able to just hang out with the dogs. You know, we had 1 dog at the time, got another during quarantine. So that's been kind of fun to sort of, you know, hang out with them this much. And
get along with each other.
Yeah. We get along great. Are you talking about us or the dogs? Yep. Oh,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been, you know, it's been challenging for sure, but we've definitely gotten used to it. You know, both of us started working from home, so figuring out that has been interesting. You know, we're slowly starting to figure out what going back is going to look like.
And wearing pants.
No good.
We were just talking about how we both got huge into wearing Crocs over quarantine.
Same. Bought my first pair over quarantine. They
here. Love it.
So, you know, it's been interesting. Like over the past couple weeks, we've really started to kind of venture out a little bit more. We're all vaccinated, ready to go. So we've, you know, started going to restaurants, which has been super strange. The only thing that we haven't really started doing, and I mean, I don't know if you have any thoughts about this, is when people are actually going to start going to shows again.
Yeah. That's a crazy thing out here. I don't think theaters are going to open till like 2022.
Yeah.
Comedy stuff, like smaller level stuff. And then I'm like, in my mind,
in New York, right? Like in New York, they're already opening the May.
They're back, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy. In my mind, I'm like, what is improv even going to be like? What are we going to talk about? I'm not interested in watching an hour of improv about the quarantine we just
Great. Yeah.
I see an organic opener, like fight.
Oh my God. I know. I know. I'm just thinking about our pattern games, about how depressing they're all going to become. Like, yeah, plunger. During quarantine, my toilet broke. What are you talking about?
It's like you almost need a year off to relive a little bit.
Yeah, just go do things. Yeah. It's going to be really interesting. And so I really don't know what that landscape is going to be like. I don't know what people are going to be looking for in live comedy. Like, it's
right?
Maybe anything.
I think they'll just be so happy to be together in a place.
Yes.
Communal shared experience. Yeah. That's something
That's going to be everyone's opening 5 minutes. Is look at us, we're all together.
Yeah. Oh, we're doing it. We're here. Yeah,
I think I've seen
You
this
people
show.
are the stars.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah. It's so.
I guess one thing's for sure is you'll know who's had time to work on new material and who's
Oh,
still
darn.
doing their stuff from before the pandemic.
True.
Yes.
Yeah. Someone pulling out their Anthony Scaramucci impression. All right, buddy. That was way before the.
Dude, we've been locked down for like 5 mooches. Like it's been a minute.
Absolutely. Many mooches ago. Yeah.
It's 3 months. I think it was.
It was 3,
Something
right?
like
Yeah.
that. So funny.
A lot
Well,
of
we're
mooches.
on Canadian mooches, so it's
Oh,
like
yeah,
yes,
metric,
yes, it's a little
right?
different.
You gotta send me the conversion rate. Yeah. That's so funny. Are you guys back? No, you guys are full in lockdown.
Yeah, well, they
we
just opened
just-
up outside things.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Great.
So Nick can go golfing, which you're.
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
Good.
it's been such beautiful weather, like for Canada in May, and just like the golf courses have been mocking us with their
just
beauty.
sitting there.
How is your have you been out yet?
Not yet. They just opened this weekend, so I'm gonna let the real passionate fellas get out there first. And I work for an American bank, so I'm getting Memorial Day off. No, wait, is that right?
Yeah.
Next week. So I get that day off, but all of Canada's off this Monday. So let them guys get everything out of their system, and I'll just be walking by myself on Monday, just puttering around, slicing the shit out of every ball.
I was gonna say, how do you think your game is gonna be?
Oh, terrible. I'm going to be a danger to myself and others. It's going to be fantastic.
Perfect. That's why you have to go alone.
Yes. Sir, you need to stop aiming for cars. I'm not aiming for cars.
Yeah. That.
Yeah.
Struggle is real.
Oh,
Struggle
man.
is real. Oh my gosh.
It is really weird seeing people out and about again.
It's really weird.
You know, just like, you know, driving anywhere, we see people out at restaurants, walking around, and my first reaction is to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's something we just have to kind of get used to again.
And are they still wearing masks, or the masks kind of gone?
For the most part,
Yes,
but the
still wear
mandate,
masks.
you know, we have this weird thing with the CDC where they're like, yeah, you're good. You don't need to wear masks. And then all the states were like, hold on, wait a minute.
Can we talk about this?
And we just don't know. I mean, I just think it's going to be such a crazy time to look back. And I hope we all globally do figure out what's going on eventually and we can all know. But like to look back a year ago and be like, oh, nobody in the world knew what was happening.
Yes.
Like, we didn't know what was going on. Like we lived the most uncertainty I've ever lived through. Like
For sure.
we just looking back on stuff. Like I remember all the conversations of like, oh, we'll be done in June. We'll be done in July.
Yeah.
We'll be done in August.
2
Like,
weeks to slow the spread.
Yes, 2 weeks. Yeah,
That was the big thing.
crazy.
We're like, okay, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Here we are. But like, I mean, like,
SpongeBob meme later. Like,
Yes.
4 months later.
but like
Years later.
going back to sort of the podcast and our workflow, like as soon as the pandemic hit, you know, it really kind of threw us for a loop. You know, I'm sure similar to you guys, we had to figure out how to do things over Zoom or remotely. So I like there are a handful of episodes. I won't say when they are. You can probably listen to them, find out for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there were episodes before I had like the right equipment to record through Zoom. So I would be sitting in my closet, one headphone plugged into my mic, one headphone plugged into the phone so I could talk to Patrick. And then I would play music through my phone and hold my phone up to my microphone. Just this really stupid roundabout way of doing things that would be a nightmare. I am sure you guys can relate to this. So a nightmare to edit.
Yeah. Oh, geez. But even like, I feel like over the past just like couple months, Zoom has been able to allow you to play music from your computer.
Yes.
Like before, that's what we were doing. I have this guy here still. That's like, where
Yeah.
next? Where do I hold it? Yeah.
So it's been just a huge learning process too. Like this is something I never would have thought that I would have, needed to know how to do. And now like being a full-time podcaster, a bulk of what I do now is recordings over Zoom. So, having to learn and go through that process has been really interesting.
Dude, I bet it feels like it's opened up the world for you. Because I know for us, like before we would try to meet up with somebody either in their apartment or have them come over here. And it was a nightmare scheduling, but now we could just like Zoom people. And it's been great the virus has been fantastic for our podcast. I'm not gonna
crushed it. Yes. Look.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like it makes things a lot more accessible, a lot easier. I feel like before all of this, there was a little bit of a stigma to doing a podcast, with someone over the phone or over Zoom. And now that's not really a thing. And also, people have really kind of upgraded their home setups. Like people now have mics or better cameras or whatever. So, I think people are really kind of taking stock and realizing that this might be the new normal for a bit or, forever. So it's been interesting to kind of see those setups sort of start to change and the process get certainly a lot easier than it was.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then being able to talk to people across the country and stuff like that. I'm super happy we got to be on y'all's show.
Yes,
it's so fun.
I'm so glad. This has been so much fun.
Awesome.
And I feel I am conscious of the amount of time, and I don't want to take up too much.
No.
Oh, good. Strap in, boys.
Okay. I'll get my seatbelt. Okay.
What is it?
Belt's coming off.
Have you done the improv over Zoom yet? Have you done that yet?
Oh, I have done improv over Zoom. And I wasn't a fan. I'll tell you what, there's something very upsetting about it. And anytime
I gotta teach it.
Oh yeah,
we landed a gig teaching it.
It's so tough. I mean, there's something so sad about when you do a show and you're like, oh, this was so fun, and then you close the laptop by yourself.
Oh, yeah. It is devastating when you put it that way. Good show.
Silent.
The best afterwards, you go to a bar or you go to the club and you talk it out and hang out and then party and do whatever. But yeah, here's like, well, that was fun.
Yeah, bye people who may or may not exist.
Yes. Yes. That was the best part of doing a show was, catching up afterwards.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And now I can't even see their lower halves.
Yes. I don't know what your legs look like anymore.
That's for the best. You don't need to do that. Quarantine has been great for my lower half. Oh my God. I've never felt more confident about it.
All sit-ups all the time.
That's right.
Exactly.
Nick, you must have questions. You are
no, not at all.
Are you
not prepared at all?
I expected Nick to show up like a list of questions for you.
I was going to. I started doing some research, but I was like, no, I'm just going to talk to these guys and have fun.
True spirit of what we do.
That's right. Zero research. We appreciate
Absolutely.
That. Yeah.
Well, I feel like
I thought like if I do too much research, like I've been listening to your pod a lot. So I was like, no, I'm going to sound like a complete sicko fan if I do any more research. They're going to be frightened and they're going to end the podcast early, Brie. So now is a great time. In episode 63,
where you got them in for an hour, Nick. Now it's time to really hit them.
Well, there is something we do on our podcast. I feel like we should do it here.
Yes, I think it's only fitting.
We have something about Marvin Gardens' name.
Oh, it's sweet.
And I feel like this is a good time to do this. Brie, Marvin Gardens is the alter ego of Jimmy Buffett.
Okay.
He has a couple of unsavory songs that's his pseudonym.
So it was like Garth Brooks had who was
like a Chris Gaines kind of thing. Yeah. So he does this thing that's very much like a I didn't write this. Marvin Gardens wrote it.
Yes.
And so we like to give people Marvin Gardens names so they can lend them these names to their unsavory aspects of their life. So you can I didn't do this. Brie didn't do this.
This other person did it.
So my Marvin Gardens name is St. Charles, Tennessee.
Ooh.
And mine is Mayfair Marleybone.
Yeah, we use Monopoly squares, and we just combine two Monopoly square names.
So we would like to give you both your own Marvin Gardens names.
Yeah.
I'm honored.
Brian,
I
knew we had to get you.
Nick is so happy.
So you get a family name because you guys are siblings.
Yes.
Oh, God, that makes sense.
Yes.
So
I think I've got a good family name.
Okay. Oh, very good. Okay, that's a great family name. Okay. And then, okay. And then do you want to name one of them and I'll name the other one?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so first we'll start with the family name.
Okay.
So your family name is Liverpool.
Oh,
Yes.
So you're the Liverpool clan.
Yes. Okay. So Brie, we'll start with you. Your official Marvin Gardens name is King's Cross, Liverpool.
I love
You
that.
sound like a jazz musician. That's awesome.
That's
Yes.
intense.
King's Cross, Liverpool.
King's Cross, Liverpool is
So-
very cool.
But before we get to Nick's name, what kind of shenanigans is King's Cross, Liverpool getting into?
Jeez. Fights, like bear fights.
Yeah, definitely one of those kind of like old timey
Definitely.
roundabout.
Yes.
Love sliding for it.
Yeah.
Very good.
Wow.
King's Cross, Liverpool. That is.
We love that.
That's a scrappy name too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very scrappy name.
King's
Love
Cross,
that.
Liverpool is really good.
Yes.
Okay,
Nick.
your Marvin Gardens name is Houston, Liverpool.
Ooh.
Awesome.
Houston.
This sounds a little more regal.
Yeah,
More smooth, more silky for sure.
like an Artful Dodger kind of guy.
Yes. Yeah.
I love it.
What kinds of shenanigans is Houston getting up to?
I'm going into mattress stores and tearing off the labels that you're not supposed to take.
Oh,
You're
Because I collect them.
I like them. The labels are like the part where you could put your feet on. You know how there's
Oh,
like
no. The labels. I'm not a monster. That's disgusting, Brie. Can you imagine other people's smeggy feet on your...
That's why I had to ask.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, I'm bad, but not that bad.
People come over and your opening is, have you seen my binder full of mattress tags?
Not creepy at all.
No, not at all.
Totally normal.
Yeah.
That's really perfect.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
King's Cross and Houston, Liverpool. Nice to meet you guys.
Very nice.
Thank you so much for that. That is fantastic. I've written it down, even though we're recording this for posterity.
Perfect.
Good.
Perfect. Good to know. We need to start giving certificates.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We do a lot of stuff. We've been promising merch for 5 years.
Yeah, we have.
We
We
never
have one
get them.
t-shirt. We have one t-shirt.
We have one T-shirt.
One t-shirt. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. We can
We
send it
have
around.
nothing.
For weeks at a time.
We had a mug.
A mug?
Oh,
Yeah, we had mugs that we gave out to ourselves.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
So it's very much like Marin, but different.
Send you
Oh,
mugs.
perfect.
Wonderful.
Perfect. Love that.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. This has been so much fun.
Thank you for having us.
I want to make sure that other people who haven't already who aren't already familiar with you, definitely anyway. What am I trying to say?
Wow.
Where can we listen to you? Where can we find you? Where can we listen to you more? Where can people check you guys out and follow you and fan out as much as Nick does?
Oh my God. We're honored, by the way.
Yes.
Truly honored. I hope you truly know that.
You can find us, just search Parrothead Podcast, wherever you get podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. We're on all the places.
Yeah, you can follow our social media on Parrothead Podcast or Parrothead Pod on Gmail. No. Wow. Follow our social media, Parrothead Pod on Twitter and parrotheadpodcast@gmail.com if you want to send us an email.
Yes.
We'll take literally any email.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I love it. Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
a big fan of funny signatures too.
Oh,
so.
we love it. Sent from under a bridge. We like it when somebody says that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sent from my third eye.
I feel like, okay, so I took a stand-up class a while ago and I feel like my stand-up teacher had a really good one. But anyway, I'll send it to you later because
Me
it'll
too,
take
yes.
too long
I
to
love
find it,
hearing
but
that.
for sure he had one.
Amazing.
And then you can find my social media. I'm on Patrick McDonald with a 0 instead of an O, and then on Instagram as Patrick. For
I
Patrick.
Brie Watson with 0 instead of an O.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. Love
And
it. You cannot find me on social media.
Yes.
Love it,
I'm
Yeah.
so jealous.
Way of the future. I love it.
You can find Ryan in Burbank.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
come knock on my door.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
hang
yeah.
out.
Amazing. Well, guys, thank you so much, Nick. Is there anything else you wanted to
No, I'm just living the dream. This has been fantastic.
Amazing. Honored.
This has
I'm
been
gonna
a
have such a weird time listening to this during my work.
We love it. Thank you so much for having us. This was a blast, and stay safe out there.
Yes.
Hopefully
Yeah,
you guys
we
open
will.
up the-
do? If you guys are ever in Toronto and or Niagara, let us know. We'll show you.
We'll look it up for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. We love that.
Will you say struggle on with us? That's the thing that we say.
Of course. Of course.
Do it.
Yay.
Struggle on.
Yay.
Thanks, guys. Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, there you have it. So
that
much
was fun, Brie.
It was so much fun, Nick. Everything I didn't really know what to expect going in, and I was so delighted and so pleased with that.
I'm glad I really kept you in the dark about it, Brie. I think that really paid off. It felt like a mini break during the lockdown.
Yes. It did make me want to drink some margaritas, I'll tell you that much.
Couple marges. They never lead you wrong.
I loved everything. I love the fact that he's got a mannequin in his house still. This is so great. And yeah, so you had a good time, Houston?
It was fantastic. I forgot what your name was.
It's King's Cross, Liverpool.
Oh gosh, that is classy.
And I told Dan about the whole premise, by the way. I told Dan about the Marvin Gardens premise, and he got confused because he's like, he was like Liverpool isn't on Monopoly.
No,
I was
Dan,
like, they must be playing. They use the British Monopoly.
they switch between the two, so you have more naming possibilities.
That makes sense. I thought they did it because we told them Catherine was British.
Oh no, yeah, they've always used the two.
Oh well, that's fun.
Yeah.
King's Cross, Liverpool, and Houston, Liverpool. I guess because he was like, none of these are Monopoly names. So it's like, it must be. Yeah. Anyway, did they use the Harry Potter one? No, I guess no, because the different train stations would be, or the different. King's Cross.
Because that one's based in London, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been to it. And most Harry Potter fans have been to it. When they asked, like, what does this person do? I had to try actively not to make it a Harry Potter thing. So I went with bare knuckle boxing. Oh, man. Well, Nick.
What a fun episode.
It was super fun.
Lives.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. And listen, if you really enjoyed the podcast, it would help us so much if you could rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast, the Constant Struggle Podcast, on Apple Podcasts. And you can also follow us on Podbean and basically anywhere you can listen to a podcast. But I think Apple is the one where you want to rate us. That's the one that's the one that counts. And you can follow us on social media as well on Twitter
at Struggle Pod.
You know what I really liked? That they take emails and questions.
Yeah,
we ask people to.
Do we have an email address?
We do. I think it's constantstrugglepod@gmail.com.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever check? What if there's like a mountain of questions?
No, I do check it. I check it pretty regularly because I use the Google Drive for.
I use
the Google Drive for many a thing. That's ridiculous. Yeah, so maybe if you have questions or if you have struggles that you'd like to talk about or anything you'd like to talk about, you can
give us a shout.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I'm trying to find it now. There it is. Yeah, constantstrugglepod@gmail.com.
There you go.
Oh, what a treat. I'm going to go.
We've learned something today, Brie.
That we have an email address and you can email us.
And we'll for sure check it because it exists.
I will check it at least once a month. Right. How about that? That's pretty good, right? That's not bad.
Cool. Let's go mid-month.
I'll do a mid-month check. Nick, I'm very excited to see you on Monday. We're gonna go golfing. It's gonna be weird. People are gonna be listening to this.
Let's go launch them, Brie.
Yeah, the episode's gonna go out and like at the time that we are in process of golfing. So you'll be listening to this. Meta. You'll be like, they're golfing right now. Crazy.
What a world we live in.
Oh,
where people can golf and be listened to at the same time.
It's pretty incredible. Well, thank you once again for listening, ladies and gentlemen. And again, if you have questions for us, or if you'd like to share your own struggles with us on the podcast,
or if you want to golf with us, let us know.
Yeah, exactly. This will be my third time on an actual course, so that'll be fun.
Loving it. I'm already loving it.
Amazing. All right, thanks everybody, and
struggle on. Struggle the hell on.
Struggle the fuck on.
Like it. Keep that one, please.